Welcome to another edition of Fabric 5, everybody. Today we're going to spend a few minutes to talk about bursting and its impact on your performance while working with Fabric. So let's get started. Today, I wanted to really jump into a little bit different thing to consider when you're working through the architecture and designing your Fabric solution. Microsoft introduced the concept of bursting. I believe first parts of that was in Power BI, particularly in Premium, but in Fabric, it's even more relevant. In Fabric, you have multiple workloads. You have a lot of variance in those workloads from Spark up through working with things like Power BI reporting and loading your data warehouse. Those are all very different style of workloads. In order to support a acceptable performance across those workloads inside of your Fabric capacity, Microsoft has enabled something called burstable capacity. What burstable capacity does, it basically says, hey, this workload is going to require more than I'm paying for. But in order to maintain performance, we're going to borrow from the future and allow this to perform properly and be able to give you acceptable performance. This is a really big deal. Now, it's not unlimited performance, but it does allow you the ability to get reliable performance and be able to manage your capacity cost and usage across time. So, a couple things to be aware of. Microsoft built in SKU guardrails and isolation boundaries in order to manage performance consistently across the platform. This does not mean that you can buy an F2 and get the same guaranteed long-term performance of an F64. What it does mean is that if you're running F2, you should be able to run certain workloads without it being an issue that would typically overrun your capacity. Be able to run those for a period of time until such time that the future capacity is used up too much. Keep in mind that depending on what SKU you run, there will be limits to prevent you from overrunning too far. Now, isolation boundaries also mean that you have to look at all workspaces and workloads in your capacity as a part of the consideration for the guardrails and managing what's available to you. So the calculation take into account both pieces. Now, the calculation on the side, I just want to show from Microsoft an example of how they calculate this. You take your base units, or take what you need, divide it by duration and baseline. That gives you the factor. Anytime that's greater than 1, it's running burstable capacity. You can look at your capacity management tooling in Fabric to find those instances where you're running burstable. Point is, Microsoft's made it so that Fabric runs well, regardless of your capacity. The hard consideration for you is find that sweet spot where you use the right amount of burstable at the right time to support your workloads without negative impacts into the future. In the next Fabric 5, we're going to discuss smoothing and throttling, which also result from bursting and certain capacity management around that. I look forward to seeing you next one. Remember, if you like us, then like us. Share, subscribe. This is Steve Hughes with Data on Wheels. Look forward to talking to you next time.